So, welcome everyone to Weeaboo Hell. It's Weeaboo Hell. I'm Blind Monkey, aka Dennard Dayle,
I'm Mute Monkey, aka Sam Lagow.
and today we are going to talk to you about one of our favorite things, somewhere between food and water on the spectrum, which is Gundam.
It is the 40th year anniversary of the original series, which aired in 1979. In celebration of that, we're going to talk about the best element of that series, and that is one Char Aznable.
Now, Char Aznable is a lot like what you want it to be like when you grow up, only with none of the virtue or really doing anything positive for other human beings.
Really just making the world worse, honestly.
It's a very special way to move through a developed society, or I guess a barbaric, war-torn hellscape, which...
What else? It's just, people doing what people are going to do to one another, but you especially, because you're Char Aznable, and again, the world is such a worse place for your having been there.
Debatably a product of his environment, and when it comes to Char, I thought a fun way to do this would be specifically to recount a list of people that he betrays throughout the Mobile Suit Gundam franchise.
Yeah, no, that sounds fun. So if you don't know, Char Aznable is famous for a whole host of things. He's known as the best mobile suit pilot in the original Universal Century continuity. His mobile suits are known for just going 3 times faster for no other reason than they're colored red. And also,
Gork and Mork kind of logic.
Gork and Mork kind of, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that is a direct reference to Mobile Suit Gundam.
Real chicken egg kind of scenario.
Yeah. Most importantly, to me at least, is the fact that he cannot go 10 seconds without double-crossing someone.
I don't know if you've ever known someone that's had Tourette's or an anxious leg that they tap a lot when nothing's happening.
Oh, I'm doing that right now.
That tapping leg is him ruining the life of someone close to him. And it's sort of a primary driver in the series.
He does it so frequently, and he does it so naturally that you'd think it was a reflex for him. He makes it look so easy.
Another minor note of context I would, I guess, drop in there is that he's a figure in multiple installments of this franchise.
Yeah, no, that's important to know.
If you're not into Gundam, it has the whole Star Wars thing going where there are multiple installments along one timeline, some better than others. Though I guess I would say that Gundam hits a bit more consistently than Star Wars if you rope in the prequels and the holiday specials and the like.
No, Gundam Age was a crime against humanity.
It was one crime against humanity.
And then Gundam Seed Destiny. No, I can't hate Gundam Seed Destiny.
Yeah, that's called a circus train wreck.
It's such a fucking yeah, no, for real. Maybe it's because I watched it after it had already aired and knew going in that it was gonna be bad.
That makes it easier. Like,
I had such a fun time with that stupid piece of shit.
Destiny is akin to a trapeze artist face planting into the netting. Gundam Age, the netting snaps and you get a Dick Grayson scenario where you just hear a dry thud. And it gets very quiet and they carry on. They try to entertain with the elephants after that, but no one wants to see the elephants after that because the tone has already been ruined.
I think Age, it should also be noted that the trapeze show up to then had been pretty solid. You could be forgiven for thinking that, oh man, this might have been one of the better trapeze shows you've ever seen.
Yep.
And then, no, the net tore. The net tore,
and
then everyone saw the bloody, mangled fucking mess.
Yeah, someone thought it was a good idea to grease up the handles before they went out for their last set. Show them some real skill. Alright, so we've got Char, ace pilot in his youth. Only, I guess, before he's even an ace pilot.
His birth name is Casval Daikom.
Casval, and he's the son of the sort of intellectual spearhead of the separatist movement. And things go poorly, as they tend to do in sort of populist dictatorships.
His Lenin-esque father was either assassinated or had a heart attack. We're never actually told which of these two things happened.
But they killed him. They killed him.
Maybe they did.
Have you seen these people? Have you seen the world they live in?
An argument could be made either way. We're never given a definite answer. Char Aznable has gone by 4 names in his life, and we will be switching between them based on where he is at that point in his life. He was born Cosmo Daikum. He was later rechristened Edward Mass. He is best known as Char Aznable, and for a brief period of time, about 8 years after the 1 Year War, which was the events of the first series, he called himself Quattro Bagina.
Going in, don't worry about memorizing any of that stuff because A, this isn't a test, this is a podcast. And B, just think of these as just proceeding up a level tree of personal betrayal. Like, you're just collecting your experience in an RPG. You start out, like, stepping on frogs in a marsh, and by the end, you're suplexing dragons into other dragons. First betrayal. He's in an idyllic farm in a space station. It's far in the future. Rock with it. And after his family gets slightly kicked out via potential murder from the Third Reich entity, he's taken in by this warm Spanish billionaire. What's his name again?
Diablo Mass.
Diablo Mass, and he's his adoptive son.
But after assassins are sent to Earth to kill them, then they flee Earth again and go to a separate colony in space, the Texas colony, and are taken in by the generous Aznable family, who have, I think they have a daughter. More importantly, they have a son. This son's name is Char Aznable. Are you ready to get confused?
I am so ready to get confused.
Cool.
And this son Char is a pretty nice dude. Their host is a pretty nice dude. And this son Char has the honor of being the first person to get stabbed in the spine by developing... Oh man, the name switchery is already fucking...
by the developing sociopath. No, so the kid kind of deserves it though. He's a fucking brown shirt asshole. Like he's talking about Zeon at the dinner table like they're the best thing that's happened since the Third Reich. I bet he'd contend that the Third Reich was a good thing.
He is a man that owns many red hats.
Yeah. So right off the bat, you're thinking, oh, well, fuck this guy just a little bit. Indeed, fuck this guy. Because...
the man who would become Char comes to the same conclusion.
Mm-hmm. What ends up happening is that Char Prime, the brown shirt Char Prime, he wants to enlist in the Republic of Zeon. It is the Republic at that point. The Republic of Zeon's military academy. I believe our Char, at that time named Edward Mass, comes with him for whatever reason. I can't remember what it was. I do not think he was planning on going to the Zeon military academy. I think he was just going with him to the airport or something like that. Or spaceport, I guess, in this case.
There's sort of a stick in the bike wheel of this plan as some of Kycilia that are not Darth Vader-y, I don't know, evil vizier, spy master.
Yeah, she's
spy
the evil
master
spy master of the Principality of Zeon.
A bunch of her dudes are tailing behind them, and if you had, standards or a moral center, you might want to inform your host family of the people coming with knives in their hand.
But Char, as we said, kind of a bastard.
Char has other standards, other motivations.
Edward. His name is Edward at this point.
Fuck me, man. Okay.
God
okay.
damn. This is going to be the hardest one, and once we clear this one, it's easy, because it's only one Char after that, because he's dead now.
Edward basically jacks Char's passport and goes to military academy instead, leaving Char Prime to be blown up by
Kycilia's goons in a shuttle explosion.
An event that Char reacts to with all the emotion of, I don't know, you ever not even like stepped on a bug, just
I can't remember if he
bug.
laughed or not, because he might have laughed.
There's a very good chance. It seems to be his kind of joke.
Oh, it just oh, you died instead of me.
I think his 5 minutes at the Comedy Store begin with, so once I knew this guy, I took everything.
Now he's dead.
Oh, man. But really, Space Airlines, right? The food's crazy.
That is the first person he's betrayed. The second person he betrays is his roommate at this Zeon military academy. This is a man named Lino, I believe is his name. Lino is, I guess, a friend of the former Char Aznable, knows this kid's personality, knows that this This guy who's calling himself Char, nah, this ain't the guy.
This isn't
Ain't
quite
the same guy.
this isn't quite a perfect fit. I wonder what's going on here.
So for the next several years while they were at the academy together, he very slowly puts the pieces together in his head and reveals
He's like, wait a
later
minute.
on.
My friend sometimes talked about things that weren't himself.
He reveals later on, as they are planning on taking part in a, I guess you could call it cadet uprising, that he knows who this person calling himself Char Aznable is. He is, in fact, Cosmo Daikum, the son of the late Zeon Daikum. And it turns out this Lino guy is a hard fucking... He's like a Leninist, I guess.
Yeah,
in Stalin's Russia, I suppose, is sort of how you would frame it.
He's definitely got some early Marxist writings underneath his pillow, like his Bible and this fucking Russia metaphor.
And he's really fucking into Cosmo Daikum. He thinks that he is the true son of Zeon, right? Well, he was technically the true son of, Zeon the guy.
And, when it's just you and your friends, you take notice of who's important, who can be a useful resource to you.
And he pledges his loyalty to Char.
And as Char notes this guy, he puts him on list as the first person he's going to betray at the earliest opportunity. In this case, middle of this uprising, Char tells him to commandeer a tank. He says, "Okay, boss." Then Char says, "That tank's full of Federation goons, take it out."
And take it out they do, as
remarkable efficiency.
It was very quick. I think he'd cut off the guy's radio feed, so he couldn't tell anyone to stop. You sort of had to watch him screaming as he died. It was very prototypical, actually, because this is sort of the way in which Char betrays people. He pulls switcheroos, as he did with his namesake, as he does with Lino now, and as he is going to do with the next person he betrays. No, I'm sorry, the fourth person he betrays.
It starts to pile up.
Because I'm missing one. All right, so let's fast forward a couple of years. The 1 year war has begun.
At this point, he's hit his stride in ace pilotdom, lots of enemy casualties, lots of civilian casualties, etc. You know how it goes sometimes.
Earned his nickname, the Red Comet.
A nickname he earned for going fast and painting his suit red.
Well, he also destroyed three
battleships,
3 Federation battleships in a pretty deadly battle that I think it was noted they were outnumbered, they were outgunned, and they still managed to win.
Oh, and in case your high school or family didn't fetishize the First World War, there's the obvious, Red Baron connection because,
right
I don't know, it might take a professor to unpack the one. Might need a real close reading, put that MFA to work.
At this battle, a high-ranking Federation, they're the good guys, a high-ranking Federation Admiral named Ibrahim Revel is taken prisoner. This is bad, because Revel is a really, what would you call him? He's a really cool-headed guy who really would like this war to stop because people are dying in ways and in numbers they've never, ever died before.
Less Patton, more someone who takes his medication and cares about the consequences of the things around him.
Yeah, liking him, less to William Tecumseh Sherman, a little bit more to your Ulysses S. Grant. So, Admiral Revel is taken prisoner, and at this point, in charge of all of Zeon's military is a man named Giran Zabi. We need to talk about Giran Zabi because he's a lot.
We don't need to talk about Giran Zabi. We can talk about how his father described him as basically Hitler the sequel.
I think he used Napoleon too.
He used Napoleon too, like sort of the self-esteem of Napoleon and the body count of a Hitler.
Easily a couple hundred times the body count.
I mean, you have to scale it. One of them had tanks, one of them had mobile suits. It's like within their own playgrounds, a similar shadow is cast.
It was mentioned in Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin that when they dropped the space colony on the planet, that was just half of the planet's population once you did all the math and after you tally in, famine and disease.
Oh yeah, that's the original men fearing their own deeds. Minor diversion between the two of us. My introduction to this franchise, Universal Century stuff, was I read the comic adaptation of the first series, Mostly Gundam: The Origin. They basically got this virtuoso mangaka to.
I think he was the original designer of the mechs who did that one.
Oh yeah, that's his connection. Yeah. That's his connection to.
I could be wrong. Don't quote me.
So I read all of that in this 4-day crack binge, which I still have random flashbacks to.
Jesus.
And he watched the cartoon paced out like a human being.
Yeah, no, it was like over the course of a week during one summer when I was like 15 or 16.
Oh, that is not a normal pace. Jesus fucking Christ.
No, it was. I mean, it's like 43 episodes, I think.
At any point, it's kind of strange that we don't have tattoos of this.
I mean, that's next. It's probably next.
What Char does in this whole Revel situation, you ever fuck up your job on purpose?
It's funny because the whole idea is that Giran Zabi, right, has been they've gone around him. His father, Degwin Zabi, the patriarch of the Zabi family, absolutely is so against this war at this point. He's thinking, oh no, they're going to string us up like Musa fucking Leanies. I don't want this at all. What have we done? I just wanted power. I just wanted to be in charge. Was that so much to ask?
The poor guy, he just wants to retire on like Napoleon Island.
What he does is he arranges for Admiral Revel's rescue at the hands of agent provocateurs from the Federation. I was doing air quotes for that whole thing.
Yep.
In an effort to get a smart guy with a cool head who could possibly end this back where he needs to be. It's a smart move. It sort of recalls a little bit how the German Empire decided to put Lenin on a train to Russia so that he could topple the empire, which he did. And this is exactly what happens. The problem is that the ship that he is spirited away on ends up being encountered by the ship that Char Aznable has just been given to command as a reward for his actions at the battle where this admiral was captured.
He sort of like snaps up to attention and thinks, I can make a Zabi's life worse. I was doing something else with my day, and I could just be making a Zabi's life worse.
So he boards the ship, sees who the passenger is, and he was about to have them all killed, right? He was about to have them all killed. He sees who the guest of honor aboard is and says, oh, this was all just a horrible misunderstanding. I'll let you be on your way. Carry on, sir.
Godspeed, you Black Emperor.
And Revel flies back to Earth unmolested, and this actually, if you think about it, more or less wins the Federation the war, this action right here. Because Char ultimately does not give a shit about the cause. Char gives a shit about Char.
I think that Char has to sort of check his hand to remember the various, like, patriotic catchphrases.
The things that he's supposed to be believing, or at least pretending to believe.
How to spell his superior commander's names. So you may have noticed we broke a little sequence here. And there's a little bit of rhyme to reason for that. I consider the Garma Zabi betrayal the sort of the main chorus of the Char betrayal roulette.
Oh, absolutely. It is the most famous one.
Garma Zabi is a person who makes bad choices as often as Char makes mean-hearted ones.
Oh, absolutely. He's just, in the end, he's just an insecure rich kid. That's nothing more, nothing less.
You knew a Garma Zabi growing up.
Oh, absolutely.
Unless you were a Garma Zabi growing up. Does your dad love you? Does he really love you? You can earn his love. You can work for it. It's almost in your hands.
Just a privileged kid who has siblings who accomplished very impressive, terrible, evil things, but impressive things, who feels that he needs to sort of earn his way into his name, right?
It's like if you were from a family of serial killers and the worst thing you'd ever done was a DUI.
Yeah.
Wow, that's my go-to metaphor. Okay, I'm gonna go check myself into a facility, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed Weeaboo Hell. It's been great.
It was Weeaboo Hell.
It was Weeaboo Hell. So, Garma looks up to Char because I guess Char has achieved more atrocities in his short time.
I think we forgot to mention, they went to the academy together.
Yeah,
they became very close. He actually saved Garma's life at one point while they were at the academy. The poor kid broke his leg on a run and probably would have starved off in the woods had Char not interceded. Because Char plays the long game. He knew exactly who this guy was and who this guy's father had.
Yeah, he was doing the sort of vengeance version of edging? People were into edging? He was doing that. He was edging himself on vengeance. What ended up happening with Garma was that he got assigned to a sort of similar mission area as his old friend and thought, oh, nice, Blondie's back. Now we're really going to take it through these fetties. And
They
do for
a while.
As you can imagine in any sort of like mecha thing centered on one ship, that ship is the death ship. They cleave through the enemy like butter. Char has noticed this tendency by this point.
Yes, and they've sort of been playing submarine for a little while, trying to sort of catch one another by surprise. Char knows where Garma's ship is. Char knows where the protagonist ship, it's called White Base, is. And Char gives Garma some really faulty info about this and drives them right into the line of fire. Drives Garma right into the line of fire of White Base.
And our heroes do the thing.
They do not hold back. This
really
is war.
hard on them. What's more important than them doing the thing is Char opening up a fucking radio line to Garma and gloating to him the entire time that he's getting murdered.
The famous pre-killing you one-liner that he gives Garma is, "You can blame this on the misfortune of your birth." And then he laughs really, really hard and for a long time as Garma screams and curses his name.
So I love the comic. I actually think in some ways it's even better than the animation, including less filler or what have you. But this is one area where the animation wins, because you cannot appreciate this scene without hearing Char laughing. It doesn't matter if you're watching in English, Japanese, fucking Portuguese. I think everyone can
having
just
such a great time with this.
Yeah, whoever is dubbing him at any time can really just key in on this moment as this guy laughs his ass off as his, air quotes, best friend is blown apart by...
He sounds like he's having more fun than he's ever had in his life. And having watched Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin, which is just a story about how Char Aznable, the guy, came to be... Not to be confused with Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin, the manga, which is just a straight adaptation of the original series with some backstory added to it.
And then they adapted those scenes to the yada yada.
To the and so on and so on.
Now,
I do not think I ever saw him so happy, knowing his entire backstory to date, as he was when he betrayed Garma Zabi.
And for reference, throughout the show, you see him in love, you see him kill other old enemies, you see him win battles, achieve fame, see things work out sometimes. He is never in that state of spiritual dissatisfaction when Garma's ship is getting blown apart.
Remember the first time you ever saw the Avengers? And they do the whole New York, oneer, where basically all 3 acts are over and now they're just throwing you a party for having come. By just showing the Avengers all kicking ass in New York. Remember how you felt then, or at least how I felt then. He's
We're the
right
only two
there.
people in the world, really. I would describe that sequence. Imagine a childhood bully with a laser pointer, and he has 2 pets. And one of them is a bulldog. And sure, maybe some of them are nice. I always hear the pit bull defense force. This isn't strike against them, but it's an abused pit bull. This is just one of the bad ones.
This is
bad owner, bad dog, whatever. Both. The other one is an average kitten.
Jesus.
And
fuck.
it sees the laser pointer dot, says, "Ooh, friend," and paws at it, jumps at it, And this bully is slowly just inching this dot over to the pit bull. And that is how Garma Zabi dies.
Jesus fuck. So moving on from that, because I need to remove that mental image from my head, because I don't know, I kind of like kitties. Char actually manages to go pretty much the entire rest of the show without betraying anyone. With the sort of minor example of his sister, who is aboard White Base for pretty much the entirety of the series while he's trying to destroy it, and he knew she was there.
But then we drift to the end. And in this closing sequence, if the first one was the psychological fucking even building to this match for ages, this one is just like, I don't know, Jeff Hardy jumping off a ladder onto another ladder or some shit. It's just
if y'all watched WrestleMania this year and saw the Samoa Joe Rey Mysterio match, it was like that.
It was just quick,
It was over in seconds, and there was a very clear winner.
Like, his sister had just finished calling him an asshole because he's an asshole, and reminding him that, hey, I know you've been having fun playing Red Baron and all, but if you're going to be a revenge obsessed prick, could you at least go back to doing the Zabi thing?
And then he says, yeah, fair enough.
So
and goes and does the Zabi thing. So,
at the time, he's working for the spy master lady, Kycilia.
Kycilia Zabi. It should be noted that she probably molested him when he was a kid. It's kind of left ambiguous. So this is just extra tasty for him, what he's about to do.
Yeah, he's also really been edging this revenge. Like, in theory, he could have probably just like walked over at a random point, just sort of gathered her 3 times and gone to jail, but that's not the route he's on.
No, so she's about to escape. This is the final battle of the 1-year war. Zeon has lost. They all know that at this point. She's trying to make her escape in her ship. But who should fly up to the bridge in a jetpack but Char Aznable with a rocket launcher?
I want to, just to reestablish scale here. She is on the bridge of a spaceship. He is on a jetpack in a hangar with a bazooka he just stole from some fucking guy
who's probably also dead now too.
And as you might have divined, he shoots into the bridge of this spaceship with this rocket launcher, only that's not really what happens, because you see that this rocket makes contact with her fucking head and takes it off.
Before it even has a chance to explode.
It's like Gears of War meets Mortal Kombat. It is astounding.
It is a moment in fucking history.
If you're into, I don't know what the genre choice would be, metalcore, dubstep, whatever the kids are setting their highlight MLG reels to these days.
This is when the bass drops just now. God, I have to tell you,
it's important to note 2 other things. First off, she does see him for a moment.
She sees him, she knows it's him, she sees... There's this moment of dawning horror as she realizes what's about to happen to her.
And
I don't
boy,
think
does it
she
happen.
realizes that this is Zeon Daikum who's killing her. She never gets a chance to do so. But she sees that it is this man that she's trusted. Although, at one point, it's implied, then this is in side material, because there's a fuck ton of side material in this, holy shit.
Yeah, full...
That she
full
figured
Star
out
Wars
his
kind of universe
identity.
Situation.
There's evidence that she knew who he was. So maybe that happens. Maybe she sees, oh fuck, is that kid I might or might not have touched when he was 5 years old.
What's really important about this kill also is you get a bit of the internal monologue as Char reflects on his past achievements, and by achievements I mean betrayals.
And he's not doing the evil laugh in this scene the way he was with Garma, but you see this sense of calm satisfaction on his face after he's done.
And the quote regarding Garma in this case.
Garma, I'm sending you some company.
And it's just so fucking glib. I love it. It really speaks to me.
What I like about his plan during the 1-year war is that he doesn't really seem to have a plan for how he's going to get back at the Zabis. He just sort of takes his revenge wherever he can. Just stay close to them, and if you feel like you can get away with it, pull the fucking trigger.
Well, we have all of these homicidal betrayals. We also want to take a moment for all the sort of just personal character failing, like really just disappointing people.
Knowing things about people and not doing the right thing with that information.
For example, in Zeta Gundam, that's the sequel to the original series. I love it a lot. He loves it a lot.
Oh, it's one of it. It is arguably the best Gundam series of all time.
It has that Empire Strikes Back rep.
It does, yeah. It's way fucking darker. It is very serious, and oh man, does it have that Empire Strikes Back ass ending.
Speaking of way darker, there's one character, she sort of has an espionage thing going, but she's also a pilot.
Her name is Rekua.
And we find out that in the first war or between wars, either way,
it's very heavily implied and then confirmed in side material, because that's just sort of the nature of the beast with this sort of thing, that Rekua during the first war, or during the 1-year war, yes, was sexually assaulted by a number of Zeon soldiers.
Zeon aren't like people's favorite people in the world, by the way.
That is something that she went through. She's a survivor of that, and what we are led to sort of understand is that she entrusted this information to Char Aznable, now going by the name of Quattro Regina, and kind of like expecting people to be cool and not recognize him, even though he's really just wearing a pair of fucking sunglasses instead of a mask now.
On the scale of disguises, it's worse than none. But
oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And his reaction to this news about her group sexual assault is basically just
the letter K.
Oh, that's rough.
That's rough, buddy.
Yeah, yesterday I had to do a whole bunch of laundry at once. I was like, damn, I'm gonna carry all this back up the stairs.
And it's easy, right? It's easy doing the laundry. It's even easy drying the laundry. But then it's sitting on your bed and you have to fold it. Nah, fuck that, man.
Yeah, man,
Anyway, yeah, it's
It
bad,
sucks
it's
how
bad
you
vibes
were.
right there.
It sucks how you were in a labor camp. Was it a labor camp?
Wake up. Oh wait, no.
Your brother died. No.
Your brother. No shit. You broke your arm. I don't know.
All right.
What's your name
can
again?
Can we do charades with this? Okay, just.
Rekua would later go on to betray him. So he kind of sowed the seeds of his own.
Yeah, it's about 10% of his karmic backlash, I would say.
A little bit, but he didn't even fucking die from it. Is the problem?
Well, yeah, because he's fucking MLG. He no-scope rocket launcher headshot at someone from across. I can only assume was at least 300 fucking meters.
It seemed like it was a good distance. Yeah.
So, hot damn.
The next entry is one Haman Karn. Haman Karn is, if Char Aznable did not exist, Haman Karn would be the most fascinating and cool bad guy in Mobile Suit Gundam's,
She
long
has
history.
one advantage over him, which is the wardrobe. Because by the end, It's gonna sound bad when I describe it, but she's got like this bumblebee fucking colored spiky thing, and it is way over the top. And
It's really impressive.
it's really impressive. It's one of those Darth Vader's suit kind of things. It's like you going into Star Wars riffs during Gundam sort of occupies that headspace with me. It's like that legacy franchise.
My three favorite media franchises of all time are Mobile Suit Gundam, Star Wars, and Mass Effect. In no particular order. I don't do orders. So it's all there in the same place.
Yeah.
The one thing that you'll find, quite obviously, that these three series have in common is that they all feature people with really nuanced psychic powers. But no, the Haman Karn is an antagonist in Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, and the main antagonist in its sequel series, Mobile Suit Gundam Double Zeta. Let's say it again. There is a side story, some side material. It was a whole manga. It ran for a very long time, actually, that told the story of what Char was doing between the original series, Mobile Suit Gundam, and its sequel series, Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam. There's an 8-year gap in between these shows, if I did not mention that already.
Imagine you are such an inattentive partner, and also at a point where the person was at a very inappropriate age. Like, imagine being a bad enough partner that you turn someone into Stalin. That's part of Haman Karn's backstory, basically.
I have to confess that I'm a little bit behind on my research on this one, because I could not actually find this manga at any of the usual suspect sites that I go to. All I know...
Sam, we've purchased all of this material legally.
Yeah, all the usual suspect legal sites that I go to.
In my defense, I actually did buy all those fucking Gundam comics because, I don't know.
I mean, they're hardbound. They're fucking beautiful looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're great. Haman Karn, he knew at one point in between these two series. All I know is that she was super into him, and maybe she was also like super fucking 15 years old when he first met her.
It's not a great move.
Not a great fucking look. I don't know what the extent of their relationship was. It could have been ambiguous even in the comic. I, again, do not remember, did not read it.
Ultimately, him violating the sort of campsite rule that Dan Savage has about, like, these age gap relationships. Just leave everything better than you found it. He was not very good with the campsite rule.
No. Whatever the extent of their relationship was, he wasn't a good friend to Haman Karn.
And believe me, I've had some bad breakups. I'm pretty sure one of them is getting deported because of that. But I haven't turned any of them into Stalin.
I mean, yet that you know of. Give it time. This was 8 years.
Oh yeah, good point. I should call him to make sure no one's gulagging people
like,
up.
It's 2019. If any bad shit's going to happen 8 years from, it's more likely that it was going to have been like 8 years ago. Again, so this was a more borderline nuanced case, Haman Karn. Really, it was the two Zabis who are going to feel the most satisfying here. But let's continue.
I revisit those scenes sometimes, just when I need to smile.
Oh yeah, because they're fucking perfect. They're like the first time you see them go around the fucking city in the 3DMG and Attack on Titan. It's just fucking endorphins.
Fucking great.
The next person or group that he betrays is the AUG. The AUG is an acronym that stands for Anti-Earth Union Group. They are the good guy Rebel Alliance types in Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam. In between Mobile Suit Gundam and Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, the Earth Federation has become tyrannical and has been more or less co-opted, taken over by a paramilitary group called the Titans.
And I know it's hard for a lot of you to imagine a large democracy spiraling into a kind of populist rage, but just try to sort of stretch your conception, your imagination.
Just imagine that like such a thing could happen, that democratic backslide, could occur.
So anyway, the AUG is a little scattered at first, and they're lacking influence in sort of political intrigue aspect of this. So, hey, here's Quattro Bagina. You're obviously Char.
Do you wanna
step up?
I know that you're not so into the Earth.
It's like, this is your opportunity to make a mark on history. This is an opportunity to change things. It's an opportunity to prevent countless lives being lost. And he stands and he sees that brass ring, and
I want to give him some credit here. I want to give him some credit because he does go for it for a while. He really, really tries to give a shit. He even tries to be a good mentor to the show's protagonist, Camille Badan, which doesn't go that terribly well, but he gave it his best shot. At the end of this series, he not fakes his own death. Well, he kind of does.
He dips. He
fucking dips. He does not renew his contract at all. And next we see him, he's trying to drop a giant fucking asteroid on the Earth.
Which leads us to the final group he betrays. Fucking humanity.
The human race
he introduces,
in general.
Basically over him being sad over one or two of his exes, this extinction plot.
So his whole plan is that humans need to not be on Earth anymore.
I dig it.
And instead of, sort of engineering a plan to get them motivated, hey, it's going to be so much better in space. His plan was, no, we need to make it worse on Earth. No, worse isn't good enough. We need to destroy all life on Earth so that there's just people in space left because that's where we're meant to be, I guess.
To understand this, what do you think of radicalization? We normally think of someone moving from the center to the fringe. This is someone that started out in Zeon, and he got radicalized to
kept getting fucking
wipe out all human life on Earth.
What I thought was really interesting about all this is a man who went from giving absolutely no shits about any sort of cause or anything. He's just a guy who likes flying mobile suits and really wants to kill the Zabis. That is Char Aznable, age 19. At age, I want to say he was 35 by the time he enacts this plan. He's taken over Zeon again.
Zeon's like a bad rash. It just keeps coming back.
It just keeps fucking coming back, and it keeps doing its shit. And still, people think, no, I believe in Zeon. They can be a force for good. I just know it.
I guess it's just that brand power. Maybe that logo is just too hype. They just want that
It's
arrow.
a pretty fucking hype logo.
I have actually considered it as a tattoo, but
I myself am sometimes antisocial, always anti-fascist, and I really kind of have been considering getting a Zeon logo tattoo. It's just such a fly-looking piece of design there.
Really strokes your inner monarchist.
I like iconography. What can I say?
But yeah, that's his final betrayal. Just the notion of monkeys on our rock.
They don't belong there no more.
He really
done with this now.
Pulls a 180 on the whole right to survive issue.
That is his final betrayal, because at that point Amuro kills him.
And
because someone fucking needed to.
It was really on the world's checklist.
I really cannot give Amuro enough credit here, because if he hadn't, it was just gonna get worse for mankind.
If there's one takeaway you take from this, other than my sterling fucking sense of humor and delivery, if you are someone who is willing to watch a show called Weeaboo Hell, and you haven't watched Gundam for what I can only assume are religious reasons, just
you gotta get on that shit.
God will forgive you. Whatever your religion says, I'm sure your God will forgive you.
I'm not gonna be all fucking get out of the room about this. Just do it. Just fucking do it. You're doing yourself a favor.
Yeah, this isn't even a moral judge. It's more like you're watching your friend, like, just sort of sleep against a cheese grater. Like, you don't have to sleep on that
You
cheese
don't
grater.
do
Come on.
it.
I've got this pillow here. It has robots.
No, you'll be doing yourself a favor. It's one of the better sci-fi properties just ever. And for its 40th anniversary, I just wanted to give it a little bit of a plug in talking about the best character from it.
Yeah, he really is something else.
He's such an archetypical anime asshole, right? Because there are a couple out there, right? There's him. There's, of course, Dio. There's Gary Oak. I would put on that list.
Did Hazama from the fucking Blaze Blue games meme his way into that category by extension, or is that just...
He does not stand in the same room as Griffith, no.
Oh my god, Griffith.
Griffith, also on that list. God, who the fuck else? Because Griffith, Char Aznable, and Dio are the three big boys on that list. Gary Oak, I would consider a minor member of that pantheon. He's like
at least in the comedy column.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Fuck, who the hell else is on that thing?
I'm not sure, but if you want to see one of the constellations in the dick bag sky, Char Aznable forms the head of that sort of penis in that constellation.
Yeah, no,
just peeing on the human race forever. Speaking of genitals...
Oh god, okay, yeah, I forgot we were doing this segment.
Oh, we are doing this segment. You know, we like to do 2 features an episode, and I have no idea if it'll run as long as a Char bit, because Char is near and dear to our hearts, but... We frequent a anime subreddit, which I know sounds crazy given the fact that we run a show called Weeaboo Hell.
It's Animemes.
It's Animemes,
the subreddit is Animemes. Its reputation probably precedes it. If it doesn't, then you know, they're fucking weebs. They're fucking weebs. So are we.
They're in your spectrum. If you're not, then that's actually a great compliment. Like if you're just brought here by the dulcet tones of our voice,
I mean, thank you. You're probably not. My voice is annoying at best, but thank you for coming anyway. So
I don't know what you're talking about. I sound like an angel.
The Animemes community, they play the waifu game pretty hard. They play it seasonally because anime has become very seasonal in the last, several years.
And the human heart isn't constant. None of us can really stand by a particular animated figure for too long.
So when winter arrives or when spring arrives or whatever, there's always going to be a new batch of best girls that they kind of get all real fucking partisan about.
It's one of those things where the ironic margin is weird, because there are people who are 100% legitimately into these women and have some questions that need to be resolved in their own lives, and then there are the people who are just kind of fucking around and the whole area in between them.
Yeah, it was 100 fucking % Kaguya Shinomiya this last season.
Yeah, there's a whole Triple H reign of terror thing going on there.
I was behind her 150%. But who cares about any of that? Because for about a week or so, last week, I want to say,
the best girl, ironically or straightforwardly, or
was not
both,
a seasonal waifu. Oh no, she was just a character from a 5-year-old hentai, and I'm not even joking.
I'm fascinated that it was an old one that caught this heat. Like,
it's not even recent. Someone had to go digging for this motherfucking thing.
Someone said, I need my porn drag to be like a contemporary of the first fucking Sword Art Online series or something. So the title of this fucking sudden bumper crop rapid push to the title porno was Itadaki Seiyeki, which I'm
not going to say what that's called.
Well, I forgot what it translates directly to, so I kind of need you to.
God damn. It means give me semen.
It means give me semen. Okay. And, I guess the micro recap of the thing is that it stars a high school male, because I guess that's a target audience and they go real straightforward with these things, who encounters a I'm air quoting right now, a half vampire, half succubus.
Well, it's the vampire half that needs to drink human fluids, right?
Right.
And then it's the succubus half that, as we learn, God fucking damn.
The succubus half, out of using semen mancy
can alter herself to basically look however she wants to, and this always plays out as breast expansion. Jesus,
There's not a lot of
Christ.
variation.
I can't believe I watched this fucking thing.
We watched an episode of this thing, and
I got no pleasure from it. I should just disclaimer right up front. You can believe me or not, but it wasn't like good or anything. There was something strangely not titillating about it at all. It might have been her voice. It might have been...
It was the fucking voice. Let me tell you, I'm a way more horned up person than him. I don't really do the hentai thing. But even if I did, like, her fucking voice in this makes me soft. I can't... And I know plenty of shows have, like, women with, like, high-pitched voices, and that's fine. You can do that. But those, at least nominally, are not pornography. And sex is a multi-sort of sense organ experience. And if my ears say pain, I'm not going to be fucking throwing a tree up.
Here's my hot take on... just on pornography in general. I think the brain is a very self-important organ that values things that stimulate it far, far over things that stimulate other parts of the human body. Let's say the gonads, just for instance. You could say that there is value, underappreciated value, to pornography as an art form that is underappreciated because it's not really engaging you in the way that other art engages you. It's engaging you in the oldest way it possibly can. But all art has good art and bad art. And this falls squarely in the latter.
That is true.
Although I have to say, it does have its moments.
It does have its moments. I wrote down some quotes because
oh, absolutely. Because
structurally, this thing...
It has like two acts.
It has like... This episode has like 2 acts, and it does this thing that Brazzers, I guess, was really into between like 2015 and 18, where half the things are basically comedy sketches.
Yeah, I don't know why porn does that or tried to do that. Or...
I think it's part of the brain thing you're talking about. Like, they think if you're just in a good mood going into it, you're more likely to
I guess
accept
so.
accept the horned up noise. I don't think it's a bad strategy, actually.
It's not a bad strategy, but you need people who are able to tell jokes, half decently.
And they are not able to tell jokes too well, and this thing's demented fucking sense of humor.
I can't believe this
fucking
segment was my idea.
It was your idea, but some quotes. First off, it's here, semen. Which, there are a lot of things you can blame on translation, but I will believe to my grave that is also stupid in Japanese.
Oh no, just imagine. Just a fucking doorbell rings. It's here!
Steven! So, that one happens. There's, your life energy is soaking into me. Which...
We could do a whole fucking episode about stupid hentai dialogue. I mean, this is just such a fucking microcosm of the genre. Honestly, it's been dumber. We were just covering this because for some reason
hard memetic, and
I just went nuts for this fucking thing. So here we are.
I think one thing that may have made people latch onto as much as they did is that this thing's pace just fucking clips from concept to concept. Like, you do not get to rest on your fucking feet before they introduce their next like porno world building thing. And it makes it a very intentional, sometimes unintentional, other times funny experience.
It is really funny. Like I'll give it that. When it tries to make you laugh, it does actually succeed. Early on, right? The whole setup is that this chick knocks this guy out and drags him to a athletic shed, right? With the intention of drinking his blood. Except she doesn't really like the taste of blood. She's kind of like shitty at being a vampire, I guess. And then says, okay, well, I don't know. Usually what I do is I drink sweat or something like that. Could I get some sweat?
So then this guy,
this motherfucker,
in what I can only call a king move. Like, your children should aspire to be like him.
It's such a fucking power move.
He fucking ignores the fact that he's been kicked in the face, ignores the bleeding on his neck, and says, "Oh, you need fluids, huh?" And basically just whips it
He
out.
whips it the fuck out. No, I think it's already out when he says that.
Well, and my eyes go wide, because I'm thinking there's going to be like 2 more minutes of transition here. No, he's just...
He's sawing in. He's sawing in and he went for it. Gordon fucking Gecko.
This guy should be on the fucking Lakers because he's just trying to throw threes.
Be first. Be smart, be first, or be lucky. And this guy was all fucking 3.
And it worked out for him. I think I wrote down the words, oh yeah, here's one. Hot stuff is coming.
I mean, that was the meme right there.
That was the meme, yeah.
Which is just such a fucking great way of calling it right there. I don't know, like maybe they were thinking when writing this, listen, they've said it so many times. Every fucking hentai or just regular porn ever has had, the lead female scream, "I'm coming." We need something else.
After seeing
we need something new. We need to evolve this smartphone.
After seeing this piece of fucking insanity, I want to put a challenge out. I don't know what the odds are among our viewers that there's an adult entertainer, but if you perform in, direct, write, edit adult entertainment of any form, I have a challenge for you. I want you to put one sentence I have never heard but is fully in context in every one of your pornos going forward. Like, I will start a foundation or an award or some shit. If you do it, fucking email me.
I'm trying to engage with you right now. I'm trying to come up with shit. I've got nothing.
It is it's kind of a stupefying experience. I'm not surprised. This isn't a flaw on your part. This is a strange.
This is because of what we're
feature.
talking about here. Yeah.
Also because of what we're talking about here. Yeah. It's kind of endemic in the fucking subject. Like, what do you say about the fucking semen mancer here? Like, is this Avatar: The Last Cumbender? Like, because we do this show, I've seen way more in like terms of fucking like just anime takes on relationships lately. And in the strengths and weaknesses,
spicy meatball.
Except for that one. That one also has this fucking advantage. Normally they just circle the fucking drain forever before anyone does anything.
No, they get right the fuck in there.
So in both this and the spicy meatball show,
which I think we recorded it already. I think it's probably going to end up coming out after this episode just because people are going to forget about this stupid fucking hentai real soon.
Whereas I am convinced that the spicy meatball show is like a hole in the force. Like, people can just feel this psychic wound exists now.
I think after we're done recording this episode, we're going to watch 1 or 2 more of the spicy meatball show. And if you figured out what it is already, then I mean, give yourself a pat on the back. I'm pretty sure that this is what Gigook has been calling it.
Congratulations, you've been successfully marketed to.
Yes. We're covering it. It's taken up an entire episode. There's not gonna be 2 segments on
that one's not a twofer. That one just hit us like a goddamn truck.
And now we're dead in a JRPG world.
I don't know if maybe me going to grad school was a mistake, because it's not really a flaw for a porno to have, like, internal consistency problems. It doesn't fucking matter. In fact, before I say this, let me get into it. It does not fucking matter that it has a problem. It just stuck out to me in my head.
Go for it.
There is no real reason for her to not just be a normal succubus in this, right? Like, the vampire thing does nothing, really.
Well, she needs...
Like, there's just the blood gag at the beginning, then she's just all semen all the time, right? Like, the succubus thing doesn't have, like, a point.
No, I think I know why. It's so that her character is allowed to be all fucking moe about it up front.
I guess... I don't know, maybe the idea of a hybrid adds something, like, that's... Are they going for a supernatural version of, like, a tragic mulatto here? I am struggling with this one.
I'm pretty sure the vampire part of it exists because they thought the idea of a supernatural being that really needs to drink was like, yeah, that's a winner right there.
But isn't that just a succubus? Like,
they're just sexy demons, right? And they tend to use this fact to further, whatever fucking aim.
So they needed to, like, elevate this to the level of a biological necessity.
Yeah. it's one of those things that could only exist in porn. Just a being that needs to be fucking you. I mean, the protagonist at noon every day. They mentioned like that. This is just what they do at lunch and after school.
So I know in the middle of other episodes, I keep going back to kick this other show in the ribs. But as I saw this porno, that's just a porno, just doing its porno thing, I thought, so wait, why do we even make fucking handshakers then if you people can just crank it to this? You can just watch the mountain of porn they make for you? Why do you need to like ruin one of the action adventure slots of the season that we get?
I'm beginning to suspect that handshakers was a complicated tax dodge of some sort. The only thing that makes sense to me anymore at this point.
It's like a U-bowl kind of thing. It could be. I would not be surprised. You might be fucking onto something there, because otherwise I just do not understand the earth I'm on. It's not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful wife. This is not my beautiful half vampire, half succubus.
You missed the opportunity to say waifu.
I'm going to have to carry that weight. This has been Weeaboo Hell. I guess today we met one of the demons of Weeaboo Hell.
A demon from Weeaboo Hell visited us on this episode. I don't have anything else to say about this fucking... This was my worst goddamn idea. This segment right
your
here.
Your worst or your best, man. Like, say what you want. However awkward it was to watch this, you probably had less negative stuff going on in your head than during Handshakers.
I've never taken notes with porn before. I've never actually had my phone out. I think my note-taking was just me sending my thoughts as I was watching it to you.
Yeah, I just scribbled mine down on this piece of paper over here.
Hot stuff is coming.
Hot stuff is coming.
I'm sorry. It's such a perfect goddamn line.
If I ever pivot into music, I'm making an album called Hot Stuff is Coming. No, wait. No, I write. You have a secret between me, you, and the listeners. I put out short stories. I get something out every, 2-3 months or so. I'm going to get something called Hot Stuff is Coming published in a real dead-ass literary magazine within the next 2 years. Personal goal. Mark it down, write it down, pester me about it on social media. I'm gonna fucking do it.
It has to happen.
This has been Dennard, Blind Monkey Dayle, upcoming author of Hot Stuff is Coming.
This has been Sam, Mute Monkey Lagow, upcoming editor of Hot Stuff is Coming.
Keep your eyes peeled. And this has been Weeaboo Hell.
It's Weeaboo Hell.
You can visit weeaboohell.com or seemreevil.com or...
We're on Spotify, we're on iTunes. Weeaboo Hell, there's 2 E's. That's something I just learned several weeks ago, is that there's 2 E's in Weeaboo. I've always just read it with 1.
It is easy to miss. I mean, I guess you don't really think too much about these words that are basically idiot memes because it's not going... You're never going to have to spell correctly on something important.
No, absolutely not. Well, yeah, probably not.
Like, unless you are the person, actually his live-in girlfriend, that made the logo for Weeaboo Hell, spelling Weeaboo correctly is not on your daily list of concerns. It just doesn't fucking come up.
Oh, I felt like such an asshole being like, no, Morgan, there's only 1 E. Then she gave me this look.
What a hilarious thing to be wrong about in an argument with, like, a significant other.
I felt supremely stupid because... And also, like, a supreme asshole because you'd already put a good couple hours of work into this. Oh, we should have been crediting her, like, just from the jump. Yeah, the logo for our show is by my lovely and talented girlfriend,
Morgan Wright. Her name is Morgan Wright.
Her name is Morgan Wright.
Sorry. You've been using pronouns with her for so long that her original name has fled you.
I've been up since 4:30 in the morning. Do not at me.
Yeah. Yeah, the art is by Morgan Wright. The industrial theme is by Softfuck, a band comprised of one Thomas Kuntz and one Mike Hart. They're great if you actually buy their music on Bandcamp, where all the decent music lives these days, basically. Most of the money tends to go to a charitable cause of some nature. They've donated stuff like homeless shelters, trans charities, etc., etc.
They're cool folks.
They're cool folks. Support their wares.